Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to start looking at part 2 of the creepy circus from Department 56, and I've made some changes already and I'll show you those as we go through, but I've got the main houses. You can see the boxes behind me sitting now onto the platform. And what we're going to do today is sort of lay everything out, trace around it for the most part, determine where our walkway is going to go, the way that's going to look, and any other things that we're going to start to put down on this display. We're also going to look at drilling some holes or hot wire foam cutting some holes for cords to go through and to be hid, and just kind of walk through that process. Later on this afternoon, same video, we'll be probably putting down the sand on this and allowing that to dry. And so I'll kind of walk you through that process and we'll get started. So let's jump right in. Okay, so first things first, pretty big change this morning. I cut the back of the display off at about 2 1/4 inches or so. And the reason that I did that, one, I didn't think that I needed all the space on the display that I had. And then two, where I plan on putting this display, after I set it up last night, there was not very much room without a lot of overhang on the front of the counter. And I don't like that. And that left no room to put the fence that I was talking about to display those posters in the back of the diorama or the vignette. So I cut off about 2 1/4 inches this morning. And the way I did that was simply, I brought the Proxxon hot wire foam table inside. I measured off the distance that I wanted. I turned up the heat fairly high and I just ran it through almost like a sheet of lumber. And it cut, obviously, amazingly well. You can see the cut there, a little off because of all the ridges in the front, but by and large, it looks pretty good. And it's pretty even. So 2 1/2 inches are now gone off of this display. And so now what we're left with, and I kind of wanted to show you that just for reference. So if you go from the back of the display to the front of the display, we're just about 21 1/2 or so, 21 1/4 roughly from 24. So a couple of inches and some change cut off. So that's done. And I still think I've got plenty of room to decorate and everything else. And so now what you'll see is the homes or the houses displayed in the way that I would like them displayed. So if you're looking at this from the front, on the far right side, we're going to have the Dolly's World of Hypnosis, kind of canted or angled into the middle of the circus. Then we're going to have the Clown House of Terror is going to be next, followed by the Cats, Bats, and Rats Shooting Gallery, and then finally over here we've got the World of Otherworldly Persons on the far left of the display. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of trace with a magic marker around and I'm going to use just a normal black Sharpie to do that, being very careful around the houses. And so that's going to give me a better idea of where those houses are going to be displayed. And then we're going to kind of draw the path that's going to kind of go around. And I figure sort of a U-shaped half circle coming back out to the front on this side and then coming back out to the front on this side. And so we'll roughly sketch that out. And that's where the majority of our sand is going to be glued down to kind of simulate that. And then there's going to be some grass and some dead weeds and things like that in and around the house. And I may end up putting sand in more places, probably will, quite honestly. I'm just not sure exactly how I'm going to do that yet. And then so what I envision is, I kind of told you a little bit last night or in yesterday's video, there's going to be a sort of a wooden privacy fence that I'm going to make probably out of popsicle sticks or something like that, and then paint that's going to go along the entire back of the display. And then probably come out to about here, I would imagine, on either side. And then I think I'm going to transition from that into the old rusted chain link fence that you guys saw me make with the solder and the material that I got at the crafting store, and then put all that together. And so I think the chain link fence will come out here. It will turn. It will stop at an opening here, probably about this wide for the first entrance. Then more fence with sort of a circus posters and things on that fence. And then another opening somewhere over in here for the second entry. So really one entry and one exit, or vice versa. There's no real science to that. And then the chain link fence will continue over here to about here, and then we'll continue with the wooden privacy fence. That's a lot of fence building, but hey, the devil is in the details, and so we want to make this this piece really detailed. And so that is sort of what we're planning to do today, is the initial layout. And then once we're done with putting the sand in the main areas, then we're going to focus in on some fence building and probably tutorial 3. That's going to take a while. So with that, let me put the camera on the tripod and let's get started with some tracing. Okay, so I've got the marker out, and what I really want to do is just sort of trace around the outside of this very easily, as though not to get any marker on the house. Just sort of an idea of where this is going to go. I'm also going to come around the back, and I know it's hard to see back here, but I'm going to put an area to bring the cord down. A couple of cords should just fall off the back, but I think I'm going to go options to put cords into this piece, into the ground here. So that is the buildings all traced around, and then we want to put some sort of an entryway. And so I'm going to kind of start in this area and go something like that, and then down here probably something like this, and probably a little closer like that. So X that off, and then this is probably going to just and that's the outside, so that's got to go to this outside. So something like that. Something like that. So sort of the pathway there for the circus goers to kind of walk around and see some of these sideshows. And have that there. This will be an area of sort of dirt and grass and some weeds. Same in these areas over here. Obviously there'll be some trees around in between these buildings and things like that. But this gives me a general idea of where things are going to be. And then obviously we're going to have different accessories in different locations and things like that. But this gives me a pretty good idea. And then obviously there'll be a gate type here, maybe not an actual physical gate, but an opening in the fence here, and then so on here, and may have a couple of things over here. So that's kind of the way we're looking so far. This will definitely be sand, and you've seen that before. You'll see it again. I'll do that out in the garage, where I basically put some white PVA glue down, put some sand down, pack it, and then let that dry. And I think I'm going to maybe put some sand in between in some areas too. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go yet, but probably some sand as well, just to kind of break up the look a little bit. So that's the tracing, and so you can kind of see on the back of this maybe where the circle is going to be for the cord to go down through. And then obviously you put the house back in the general area and we're good to go. So that's as difficult as I'm gonna make this portion. And these lines will be covered up by sand. The sand will actually come out a little bit beyond these lines, so you never have to see them or worry about them that way. So, all right, let's get that started. Okay, so you saw how simple it is just to kind of get the idea out of your head and onto the canvas, or in our case, the foam. And so just really traced around the buildings, got some areas where the cords are gonna go. So obviously got to pull the hot wire foam cutter out, the straight knife, and just do a couple of small little holes for the cords to go down through. And they'll just fall off the back underneath the display. They'll be covered up with some grass. You'll never really see the hole itself. And then really kind of visualize the entryway and the pathways and get those things started. And so now we're gonna cut some holes with the hot wire foam tools, and I'll show you that just in case you've forgotten what it is gonna look like. And then we'll go out in the garage and we'll start putting the glue down and get ready to put the sand down, and then let that dry. And then once we're done with that, honestly, we're almost ready to start putting some moss and grass or whatever we're gonna do down, maybe get that started, and then we're ready for the fence. The fence is gonna be one of the last things that we're gonna do, because it's gonna be so intricate and detailed, and it's gonna take a while to build all of that. And I have no idea how I'm gonna do that yet, other than I think I'm gonna use popsicles and maybe some dowel rods or pieces of balsa wood to help me frame that out. So more to come in the next tutorial on the fence. So with that, we're gonna I'm gonna get the hot wire foam tools ready. We're gonna cut some holes, and then we're gonna go put the sand on this and call this one done for the day. Okay, so I'm back and I've got my hot wire foam tools set up and plugged in, and so they're hot. And so I'm just gonna do this real simple and show you. Again, you've seen me do this before, but if I'm gonna cut a hole here for the cord to go through, we're simply going to just poke that through the foam. Poke that out like that, and you've got your hole cut in there. We're gonna do several more here. Okay, let's turn the piece over. It's just easier to do this here so you can see. Okay, so now we've got holes cut for our foam, in our foam for the piece to go through, the accessory buildings to go through. So easy as that, doesn't take long, and those will fall right off the back of the display, and right down behind the base, the pedestal that it sits on, and there'll be a power strip down there where everything will just simply plug in to that. And so it'll be out of the way, hidden, you'll never see it. And that should be very simple and very easy to take care of. So that's that. Now let's get ready to put the glue down and start putting the sand on. We're gonna do that either in the garage or outside. Okay guys, we're back in the garage now, and you've seen me do this before, but I'm gonna take the white PVA glue, a little cup, and we're gonna put this on quite thick this morning to make sure we capture some pretty thick sand. And so I think that we'll start with that. and see what that does for us. I've just got a normal thicker brush, and I'm going to adjust the camera, and we're going to start putting the glue on, followed by the sand. So let me adjust the camera, and we'll get started. Okay, so we're going to just start applying a liberal coat of this white PVA glue. We'll probably need more than what I put in here. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because I want room for the fence. Okay, we're gonna let that dry and we'll come back and dust it off and take a look at it. Okay, so we're back and the sand has dried enough to where it's not flaking off. All the excess is back into the bucket, so we're ready to reuse that on another project. And so now we're getting ready to put the moss or the sod or the grass or whatever you want to call it down on the platform. And I have some special moss that I got a couple of years ago from Michael's. It's more of a dead moss. It's more of a dead color, more brown. It's perfect for a graveyard. I figured it'd also be perfect for this creepy circus. And so I've got one bag left. And so this is the color of the moss. It's more of a dead color versus a bright green color. And I don't remember exactly what I picked this up for. It's Ashland Naturals moss that I got at Michael's, but this is not a price tag, so I don't know how much I gave for it. Not much, but I took what I had left and kind of chopped it up pretty fine, and so I've got a pretty good sized bag that I think will be plenty for this project. They don't clean their moss like I got off of Amazon with a big box. It was washed and all the dirt was off. This is everything that I got out of that bag and a half of stuff, but this is pretty fine stuff, and I think this will work for a lot of ground cover as well. So I've got this whole thing that I'm going to use for ground cover as well. So that should be plenty to put onto the platform to cover it in the moss. And so with that, I'm going to reposition the camera, pour some glue, give you a look at what the pathway looks like, and then we'll start covering this with the moss and then let that dry for the rest of the afternoon. Okay, so I've got some glue poured out, and you can kind of see what the roadway or the pathway looks like. It looks pretty good, and once we do the spray glue water mix, it'll change a whole different color. It'll look a lot better than that. So I'm going to start right in here, and I'm going to start putting some glue down, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to get some pretty good coverage. I think I'm just going to pour the glue onto the platform and then spread that out and see what we've got here in a moment. Okay, so all the grass is on. I put a little bit more sand in the pathways all the way up to the front, and so we're going to put this out in the sun and allow it to dry for 4 or 5 hours. I'll come through and pick off the remaining parts of the grass, and then quite honestly, we'll be ready to do some filler and the glue water mixture, some fall foliage, down, and I'll probably use the sawdust or a mixture of some of those leaves that I bought and used in the Sleepy Halloween vignette. Probably sprinkle a few of those down, and then start doing the glue water mixture, and then allow that to dry. That then we'll finish part 2 of the tutorial. So let's put this in the sun and let it dry, and we'll come back after that's done. Okay guys, I'm outside and I've got the bags of fall foliage ready to go, and I'm going to sprinkle some of that on and then put a little glue water mixture down on those to hold them in place, and then we'll squirt the whole thing with the glue water mixture and see how that looks. So let's start putting this stuff down. Okay, so you can't really see the yellow, so I'm going to try to just put the rubbing alcohol on here and see if that'll hold them down for now. Okay, so remember that breaks the surface tension, so the glue will go all the way to the bottom. So let's go ahead and try this. Okay, so that's all I'm going to put on there. I say that's all, that's a lot of glue water mixture. So that's going to sit in the sun and bake and dry, and then this one will be done and ready for the fence. Okay, so everything has had a chance to dry. The project is back inside. It is crunchy. The grass is crunchy, just like it's supposed to be. I did hit the back of the board several times outside just to test everything, and nothing is coming off, and so it's just the way that it's supposed to be. Looks fairly good. Looks a little too clean, and so we've got to dirty it up. We've got to put some dead grass and things in there. We'll take care of all the details later, but for right now, I'm pretty pleased with the way that it turned out. I still got to go through and put some grass behind the houses. It looks like I've missed some areas there. Probably not a big deal, but I can see it, so I'm going to try to fix it and make it right. But let me, without further ado, show you what it looks like and where we're at for tutorial number 2 for the creepy circus vignette. Okay, so we've got everything set up and turned on. And so the grass, I want you to listen. Very crunchy. It's not going anywhere. It's just the way it's supposed to be. The path looks pretty good. Looks like it's supposed to look. The grass looks great. The little leaves actually give it some pretty good detail. Again, the path looks good. And I've missed some spots here, so I'm going to either put some more sand or some more grass there, one or the other, to fix that area. And then this whole thing is going to be covered in a fence. So and you probably won't see that either. It just bothers me the way it looks right now. But all of this will be detailed. And when I say it looks too clean, it needs some dead grass coming up, kind of like the Pennywise diorama. But let's take a look. Now, the trees are not placed where they're going to go, and they're probably the wrong size. But I just wanted to put something in there to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. So Hypno Girl and Dolly's World of Hypnosis is moving, it's turning. We've got the Clown of Terror lit up and ready to go. We've got the Cats, Bats, and Rats shooting gallery working, and then we've got the World of Otherworldly Persons lit up and ready to go. No accessories on it right now, obviously, and we don't need them, but just wanted to kind of give you an overall look at where we're at. Again, it's a very clean look, as is the pedestal. The pedestal is very clean. That ribbon looks brand new, and that is just simply not going to work for this type of vignette. So I'm going to probably dry brush or make a dirty wash and put on that to dirty it up a little bit. I read a lot of comments today, and I think you guys are kind of in the same boat that I am with the lights. I think I may just leave the lights as they are and not paint them. It probably wouldn't make much of a difference anyway. So I think I'm just going to leave them the way they are. But the ribbon needs to be dirtied up a little bit. There needs to be some dead grass in here. And then once the fence and the posters and everything else is up, it'll look a whole lot different. And then obviously you've got to have the accessories out there to make it look spot on. So we are getting closer. This is, I think we're going to call this one done for phase 2, tutorial number 2 of the vignette. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. Hopefully you like the way that it's turned out. And yeah, we're going to move on to tutorial number 3 next. Okay, well, hopefully that gives you a better look at the way this vignette is turning out. Again, pretty pleased with the overall grass effect. The moss was a good call. I think in the darker color, the more dead or brown grass is sort of the look that I was going for. I like the way that it turned out. The glue water mixture darkened everything up a little bit, including the pathway, and I love the way that happens and turns out. And everything is cemented on there. It's not going anywhere, which is a wonderful thing. And so all in all, pretty pleased with where we're at. We do need, like I said, to dirty up some that ribbon and get it a little bit better, as in, you know, older and maybe worn a little bit, some dead grass on here. And then really part 3 is going to be focusing on the fence and how we're going to do the fence. There's going to be 2 types of fence. The back and sides, a little bit about halfway up the side, is going to be sort of a privacy fence, an old wooden fence. And so we're going to start building that. That's going to require a lot of sticks and a lot of cutting, but I think it'll look pretty good. And then the other half of the fence is going to be the chain link fence that I'm going to make out of solder and the tool material that is used for wedding veils and things like that. We'll do that whole tutorial really over again as we build this fence. And so that's what we're going to work on next, is starting the fence. Once we get that in place, we're ready to start putting in some final details, and then I think we'll be almost done with this one. So I don't know how many parts of this tutorial is going to continue. This is number 2. We certainly got number 3. We'll probably do some fencing in 3 and 4. Probably start detailing and adding the lights in 5. So probably 6 or 7. I'm guessing maybe less. I don't know. We got to hurry because I got a bunch of other stuff that I've got to build in the meantime. So, hey, with that, if you've liked this video and this tutorial, make sure you click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Pushing new videos out all the time. And if you hit that notification bell and you're subscribed, you'll get notified every time there's a new video. Again, if you have comments or questions, please leave those. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Until next time, you got tutorial number 3 to look forward to. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you again real soon.